Hey, what's going on? This is Neo, and you know I got soul.
Hey, Neo.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. Thank you for taking the time out for the interview. We definitely appreciate it.
No worries, bro. Appreciate it.
For sure. So just want to get started. New album, Nonfiction, coming out soon. Can you kind of just introduce us to the project a little bit?
Absolutely. This album is the rebirth of storytelling. I've always been, I've always been a storyteller. I've always been the guy that was good for, an entertaining tale. I feel like the art of storytelling has been lost in music over the last few years. I genuinely feel that, attention spans got a little shorter. Welcome to the microwave age. I get all that. I understand all that. But I feel like give somebody something worth slowing down and taking the time to pay attention to, they'll do just that. I'm actually kind of banking on that. Otherwise, it's going to be a really sad situation.
Right. And what kind of growth do you think you've experienced since your last album, R.E.D.?
I don't know if I've grown in the way of my sound, but I've definitely grown as a person. R.E.D. was kind of a celebration of all the genres of music that I've been allowed to dabble in, over the years. So for this one, the growth on this one is just, new and innovative ways to get the music to go. This is my first time actually allowing my fans to be part of the creative process. The whole concept of going to them via my social media and talking to them about their lives and relationships, and then taking those conversations and turning them into stories. I've never done that before. You know what I mean? So that was a new way of doing things for me. That was definitely a form of growth. As far as the sound, I'm always going to explore. I'm always going to be the guy to push the envelope of my sound. I always try something else. That's where all the EDM stuff initially came from. That's where the pop stuff initially came from. But even with all that being said, R&B is my home. That's where I come from. It's the first genre of music I fell in love with. It's the reason that any other genre of music that I've done, I was allowed to do, because it started with the R&B. So this album, Nonfiction, is kind of a reminder to my R&B fans that R&B is who I am, as opposed to just a hobby or something that I would ever abandon. Nothing could be farther from the truth. While at the same time making sure that, every other aspect of my fan base is equally satisfied as well.
Cool. So, speaking of your R&B stuff, you actually dropped a really great EP last year on Valentine's Day, and it had one of our favorite songs, New Love. So would you say that EP is a good indicator of what the R&B side of your album will sound like?
To a degree. When I said that I wanted to make this album predominantly R&B, I didn't want to go with just one specific type of R&B. The cool thing about R&B is that it has a few layers. There's the more classic sounding stuff. Songs like Money Can't Buy. It kind of has that feel where it's more of a traditional old school kind of sound. The song Integrity, is definitely a throwback and a nod to Marvin Gaye, which is what it is that he used to do. But then you have songs like Run and songs like She Knows that have more of a today feel to them. It's definitely R&B, but it's what's happening in R&B today, with the hip hop element to it and the whole nine. I just wanted to touch all bases in R&B with this album, and I feel like I hit the nail on the head.
Okay, cool. And of course, right now you have the single with Juicy J, really starting to gain some traction on radio, and on different formats as well, from urban to pop. And that doesn't really happen too much these days for an R&B artist. So, what do you think is the key, for that single to be blowing up like it is right now? I've
kind of always banked on the song just being good enough. I feel like that song, once you get past, whatever it is you can feel about me or the fact that, it's a racier than the stuff that I've done before, or whatever the case may be. Once you get past all of that and just realize that the beat is super infectious, the second that, the second you get that, you're in, and then the bass drops and you're sold. So there's that, on top of the fact that the lyric is dope. Juicy J's verse is perfect for what this is. It's the whole thing just comes together perfectly, and after a while, it's hard to deny that. You know what I mean? The song is just that good. It's a good ass song. So I think that that's the reason that it's picking up the way it is, because people are coming to raps with the fact that it's just a good song.
Right. And, would you say it's kind of been a challenge for you at all to write something that gravitates towards both of your audiences? Because I've noticed, not even just for you, but music in general, pop and R&B have kind of went their separate ways. But, like I said, with this record, you've been able to make both audiences happy. So was that a challenge for you in the past?
In the past, it might have been a challenge, just, feeling torn between the two genres. I have a very loyal fan base on the dance and EDM side of things, whereas my initial fan base is R&B. But I don't view it as a challenge anymore in that the lines are being blurred the way that they are. I don't feel like R&B and pop is going their separate ways. I feel like if you listen to Taylor Swift's latest album, and you feel how much heavier the drums are now, and some of her melodic choices are a lot more soulful. So I feel like R&B is definitely there. It's just being applied in different ways, and I have no problem with that. I've always supported it, saying that I want us to eventually get to a place where the only two genres of music are good and bad. I want to get to that place where you don't even think genre when you think NeYos. You just think it's either going to be a really good song or a really bad song. Regardless of what style it's done in.
Fair enough. And one of the producers you worked on for this album is DJ Camper, who we're really big supporters of. So can you talk about, the work that you guys did together on this album?
I just love Camper's take on just sound, period. You know what I mean? He's definitely a guy that he knows, he knows that piano backwards, forwards, left, right, up, and down, and his music exudes that. He's super soulful dude. He got an old soul. I don't know exactly how old dude is, but he strikes me as fairly young. But he definitely has an old soul. Like, he knows his way around the melody, knows his way around some harmonies, and his music, he just has that feel good vibe to all the music that he does, which is why he's got about 4 on the album.
Right. And, just to touch on your songwriting a little bit, you've had so many albums now, you've written for so many artists, so is there kind of an extra step at this point? Because I'm pretty sure songwriting to you comes natural. Is there an extra step that you have to take to make a good song great?
I think it depends. With every song it's different. There have been songs that, I took hours to write and really, really took my time to make sure that everything was super, super duper as good as I humanly could make it. And then, I played a song for somebody and they go, it's okay. And then there's other songs that I just literally, shit out in 12 seconds. And people go, oh my God, this is incredible. You know what I mean? So I think it's kind of situational. It's song by song you got to take it. You can't really say, all right, I'm gonna do the same thing with this one that I did with that one, and it's gonna work the same way. That's not really, at least I can only speak for myself. Really, that's not how it works for me. Every song is a new adventure, is a new journey, and you gotta tackle it as such. You can't go off of what you've done and where you've been. You gotta treat every song like it's the first one, and give it that attention, and just do what feels good to you, and pray that the world feels the same way.
Fair enough. And of course, you have your new artist, Candice. Can you talk about her a little bit and when we can expect her to come out?
Absolutely. Candice is the epitome of all killer, no filler. She's that kind of person where if she's thinking it, she's going to say it. And if you happen to have a problem with what she said, then that is your problem, not hers. That's who she is. So, we're definitely trying to, I love the fact that she has the edge that she has and that she's so real, But, there's a little bit of artist development that we're still doing right now, just making sure that none of those colorful 4-letter words fly on the radio.
Right.
In a radio interview. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, with that being said, her music, her sound, she has one of the most incredible singing voices I've heard really, really long. To the fact where the song that she's on my album doesn't even scratch the surface as to what it is she can do. You know what I mean? Her stuff, we got some stuff out on her right now. She has an EP out called The Smoker's Room,
right?
That you can find, pretty much anywhere that you can find EPs and mixtapes and whatnot. So I definitely recommend checking that out. Got some other stuff on her on SoundCloud, just Candice, Candice spelled regular. Or you can go to her website, CandiceRnB.com, and you can hear some of her more latest stuff. But as far as her album, we're at this point now we can just kind of putting the finishing touches on it. crossing the T's and dotting the I's, so to speak. So be looking for something later this year. All right.
All right, perfect. And lastly, are you going to be going on tour for this album?
Definitely plan on touring for this album. I think we hit the road in March. Yeah, so a city near you or a country near you. Actually, I think we're starting overseas and then working our way back towards the U.S.
Okay, perfect. And that's all that I have for you. Is there anything that you'd like to add?
No, I mean I just want people to to take this from what it is and really take the time to pay attention to these. Definitely get into the musical element of it. The music is amazing. Shout out to all the producers that contributed. But I think the thing where this album really shines is the lyrics and the stories that are being told. Like I really want people to get into these stories, and as I've said before, I want people to kind of find themselves in these stories. These are stories about real people going through real things. I feel like that's one of the strong points of the album. So I hope people agree.